Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about.
You all ready for this?
Mm-hmm.
Dun, 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 dun.
This is a sham.
No.
Y'all, just stop. Get real.
Welcome to DBL. Good morning. Look who we have on the panel. Samantha Jones, everybody.
Samantha Jones?
Oh my God, Sam Jones. I was thinking of Sex in the City. Wow. Samantha Shocker.
Samantha Jones is here, everybody. Samantha Jones.
Wow.
Please, somebody clip and save that for Tori. We will be using that during one of our rap
I'm so
shows.
sorry, Sam. We're all fuddled today. I'm so sorry.
Not all of us.
Yes, all of
Well,
us.
carry on, Pete. Let's go.
All right, Fred, you don't have to go there. All right, let's talk about this, Samantha Jones. Former President Trump. I'm sorry.
Okay, take a breath. Take a breath. It's okay.
I thought it was an inside, and I was like, I don't know
too.
what.
I
never
didn't
really
get it.
know what you're talking
Yeah.
about, but I was like, I don't get
No,
this
that
one
was-
at all.
Yeah.
Well, now you get it. It was a mistake. All right. Former President Trump is in New York today, where he is getting deposed in an investigation into his business dealings. He is now refusing to answer questions. He is taking his Fifth Amendment right not to incriminate himself over and over and over for every question. There's a ton of fallout from Monday's FBI search of his home at Mar-a-Lago. Trump is reportedly feeling, quote, furious yet scared, according to People magazine. He feels victimized and is calling everyone he trusts to give him advice and reassure him this is a witch hunt. He's also saying Biden knew all about this. We've also got new details on the raid itself. So agents spent 9.5 hours searching the property, reportedly focusing right on Trump's office and personal quarters, although some are also reporting they searched Melania's wardrobe. Whoa. They took away about a dozen boxes of materials, and we now have 90 days before the midterm election, with many expecting Trump to announce his candidacy soon. But the question a lot of people are asking, is Trump a victim of government overreach? This was everywhere yesterday. People saying, how dare they? We got to defund the FBI, take away the Department of Justice. What do you think?
So I think, because there's a lot of confusion out there, especially from Trump supporters, here are just some facts. A lot of you are asking what an affidavit is. So an affidavit would have to have this in it, okay? It would have to identify the person, place, or thing to be searched. So it's not just this erroneous, empty warrant, right? It also would have to identify the property to be searched or seized, and it would have to establish actual evidence and grounds to go forth with that search. I also want to say, too, that, Trump has claimed that he and his team were not aware that a search would take place. Well, we all know that back in June that they did announce with his team, the FBI did have a private meeting with him, and this is all fact now, that they said if you do not turn over those documents, we will come back and seize them. So whether or not, the FBI cannot comment on what that search warrant is, only Trump can because he has a copy of it. So we won't be able to hear more about that, and if it is those seized documents that they're trying to attain, until there is a court hearing. That's when we will hear from the prosecutor. That's when we will hear from the FBI, or we could hear from Trump himself.
Interesting. Do you think after we hear all that, we'll feel more for Trump? Do you think he feels like a victim now? What do you think is happening?
I'd rather hear from you. What do you think is going on with the whole thing?
Well, here's how I feel. A lot of people are writing me and the show. If the FBI can do this to Trump, they can do this to anyone. That's how laws work. That's how things go. We're supposed to be like that. No one's above the law. What I find interesting is we know he might have trashed documents from Stephanie Grisham. If they find that he mishandled any classified information, he will not be able to run for federal office. A lot of people are saying that's the end goal in all of this, is that they don't want him to be able to run for president. Do you think that?
I think, yeah, that's the end game, right? But you say that's the law. I think a lot of people are looking at this, and again, this is the argument that everyone throws out, so I'm just regurgitating it. I think there's a lot going on with Nancy Pelosi and her husband, right? I think there's a lot going on with the Clintons. I think there's a lot of other things that are going on that don't have FBI warrants. I'm glad you said that about the affidavit, because they need a judge needs to sign off on that. They need probable cause, and like saying we're expected to find something. My problem with this whole thing is if there's something there, go get it. I'm all for it.
Right.
You gotta serve justice, right? If this is about like a declassified document that was classified and he thought it was classified and he brought it in and they don't really find anything, this is not good. good for the Democratic Party, right? This is not good for two reasons. One, we're 90 days away from the midterm, okay? This is riling up the Republicans. This is bringing them together, in my eyes. No matter what the outcome is, it's bringing them together. If they don't find anything, I just think it's going to become like once the Republicans take place, now they're sending out these witch hunts to get Democrats. It's like whoever's in power is now going to take advantage of that FBI or the House or whatever it is. So it's now we're not the United States anymore. We're starting to turn into different countries, and we're using our power against the other political party in the United States.
To his point, really quickly, I wish that all of us would come together and say, listen, whether it's Biden, whether it's Hunter Biden, whether it's Pelosi, whether it's Trump.
I forgot about Hunter Biden, by the way.
All of them, hold them accountable, please. Like, let that unify us. Nobody should be above the law. Yes, they would come to any of our homes or any of our viewers' homes. So if they're going to come to our homes, you better believe they should go to the 1% as well, because they've been getting away. The 1% has been getting away with things that none of the layman's people can get away with. So I wish, to your point, Jeff, that this would unify us and we just get all the corruption out. But I'm afraid that instead it's going to create more extreme violence.
Right, which we'll get to. I just quickly want to say, for those of you who don't know, the Department of Justice and President Biden are separate. There's checks and balances in judicial versus legislative versus executive, okay? He probably didn't know because they don't want him to have any culpability in this. So everyone's saying they're using the FBI. I don't think that's true. I think the FBI has its own head, Merrick Garland, and he's not speaking to Biden on purpose because constitutionally they're separate agencies.
I got to agree with you. I don't think Biden knows what's going on.
I don't think he can legally.
About a lot of things.
I don't think legally he can.
Let's
I hear you. I hear your sarcasm.
Thanks for the joke. That was a joke, by the way. Thank you, Michael
Dean got it.
Yeah, thanks. No
we
one
all
else
got it. I got it.
Everyone's like, yeah, I agree. Jeff and Tori are on the same page.
No, I got it. We are then the Samantha Jones one, so you're good.
Oh man, that was classic.
All right, we're moving on. So speaking of what you have to say, how are everyday Trump loyalists taking all this? Jeff is right in the point of all of a sudden we're riling up that big crowd, right? They are rallying around the former president with people flocking to Mar-a-Lago to show the support. Palm Beach police have reportedly gotten intelligence warning that armed pro-Trump protesters are planning on attending. Meantime, there are even threats of violence, with some right-wing agitators now calling for war. Are we there?
Yeah.
I think we're there.
Can I just really quickly though, Jeff, because there are representatives. Now, a lot of people look at the representatives, rightfully so, as an authoritative figure, and they take notice. We saw that with the insurrection,
Absolutely.
right? They listen to them. They feel safe listening to their guidance. That's where it gets dangerous. So we have Florida Representative Andrew Sabatini saying it is time for us in the Florida legislature to call an emergency legislative session, amend our laws regarding federal agencies, meaning sever all ties with the DOJ immediately. So that's where we are out. Until we can elect actually sensible people that are going
candidates
that are going to unify us, we are going to continue to be divided.
I agree, but I also want to make sure our narrative is right. The narrative coming from the right is saying they're using the FBI.
Not all Republicans. Not all Republicans.
Okay, let me finish. The people who are supporting Trump are saying that. I really think that narrative will become fact when it isn't. I want to say on this panel, the FBI and the President Biden have nothing to do with each other, and that is a narrative that is a con. That is a con for you to take away the FBI and the Department of Justice, and that becomes fascism because who's ruling? The president, aka the king. That's a problem. That's a problem.
I do know that I've seen a lot of Republicans speak out, though, on behalf of, protecting and supporting the blue and the FBI, and they are not.
No, this is a specific sector.
This is a very specific sector, so I just want to make sure that we say that when we try to paint with a broad brush all Republicans, because that's not true.
Agreed, but Trump.
And this is coming from a Democrat.
Agreed, but the Trump group is also leading in many, many ways, so they can't be ignored in that way. They are part of the Republican Party. They are part of it. They are a part of it.
And can we all agree that we want, if you did something corrupt, lock him up, lock her up, lock them all up. I don't care. Weed them out. I don't care what political party you're in. Can we just, for once, have elected officials that represent the people and not themselves?
Agree, but can we have voters understand that the FBI isn't against us? Because if we have that, we have fascism, and that's what I'm worried about.
I don't know if every voter is going to understand that.
I agree with you.
Because elected officials are telling them otherwise.
I agree. I agree. I agree. That's why we're here, right? Thank you, Samantha Jones. Thank you, Pete. I appreciate you. Coming up on DBL, what really went down on the set of The Wonder Years. Well, the reboot. The new reports are coming in against Fred Savage, and tributes continue to pour in for Olivia Newton-John. How her family plans to honor the beloved star. That's coming up next.
Closed captioning provided by...
It's so
I think it is one of those stories we're all going to be like, what? So raised you.
Why am I right all the time? Welcome to another week of Jeff's Mustache.
Am I going crazy? Sex in the City.
all of it.
I'm just going to grab a thing. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so we're going to talk about, we're going to bump in with this
Whoa, all right, so we're getting
duet with her daughter.
updated on Olivia
We're gonna
Newton-John.
talk about state
I think her daughter put out a little tribute.
Sarah
Well,
Blakely.
they did a duet, so she
Remember that?
posted that yesterday about the duet. We're going to talk a little bit more about that.
Is
That
that
affected a lot of people. I mean,
let's put that in.
unfortunately, people die every day.
Oh,
It's
okay.
sad, and especially people that we love. But Olivia Newton-John touched a lot of people, and this is a big one, so we're going to get a little more information on that.
It's not in the script.
I don't want to go back to the
Yes.
politics thing because
Ask the,
I frankly don't love it.
How much
And
did she pay you
Fred
guys?
Savage. I am interested in talking about that because I am a big Fred Savage fan.
Is
And
he
if,
Savage?
Dude, I
if
love
this is,
him.
all of a sudden nobody was talking. Now everyone's jumping in. Go for
Sorry,
it.
no, go ahead. I agree with Jeff, but I also, my eyes have been opened recently that I no longer want, even though I believe
Her husband was like, that singer looks like Olivia
all
Newton-John.
women, I do.
So,
I know that
and
there's
then-
an asterisk attached to that
So,
because
is that on? Is that
I don't want to publicly say somebody is guilty without hearing all the facts, and I had to learn that personally recently. So, listen, the Fred Savage that I thought I knew, especially because we saw him with Kelly Ripa, so charming and adorable.
Yeah.
There may be another
If
side
these are
to
true,
him.
obviously my feelings are going to change about
Same.
Fred Savage, right?
Yes.
But there is some smoke there, and sometimes when there's smoke, there's fire. But I like to do my due diligence. Let's hear him out. Let's hear the women out. that
There's many
accused him.
people that have accused him, so there definitely
Right,
is smoke.
but
So I-
it does cloud, celebrity
Yes.
clouds your judgment, even for me, because I'm
Me
such a
too.
big fan
Yeah.
of Fred Savage.
Gotta wait and see.
The goal today with Olivia, she's got some.
Find we're not so different after all. Looking for a window in the wall.
Welcome back. That's Olivia Newton-John singing the song Window in the Wall with her daughter Chloe. Chloe posted the duet on Instagram to remember her late mother, bless you, who she called, quote, an angel on earth. Olivia passed away on Monday after a very courageous and open battle with breast cancer. And now Olivia's family in Australia says they have accepted the offer to give her a state funeral. Wow. Speaking on an Australian talk show, her niece said the country needs it because Olivia was so loved. Meantime, Spanx founder Sarah Blakely reflected on her friendship with Olivia and said as a child she went as far as to ring the doorbell at her home in California. She also revealed she won the pants Olivia wore in Greece at an auction and has them framed in her office. First of all, I just want to ask you guys, those pants, she had to be sewn in.
I know.
During Greece, she could not fit. The zipper was broken.
She couldn't use the restroom.
Couldn't use the restroom. Gotta go. You know what I mean? How much do you think she paid for the pants in the auction?
Okay, you go first, Jeff.
Ooh, that's a good question.
I know. I didn't come up with it. Karen did.
Thanks, Karen. 25 grand.
Okay, those are iconic pants. I'm going to say 125.
Whoa. Wow.
250?
A little low. I shouldn't have gone like this
So
twice.
I was close.
You were. It's $162,000 for the pants.
It is iconic. I went low. I
and
went
they
low.
mean everything, remember?
But you guys were telling me they were all ripped and stuff. So
Well, no, they had to sew her in, and then I'm sure they
Yeah.
carefully sewed her out.
So would you ever,
as in unsewn?
as in cutting, would you ever get a piece of memorabilia if you had the money? What would you spend and who, what celebrity would you get? I always want the Indiana Jones hat.
It's a good one.
I think somebody already owns
I think
that.
they do. Nick Cage or someone
Yeah,
does.
you're
right.
late.
I think I'm late.
Yeah, I say the same thing. The Russell Crowe Gladiator outfit. That's my
Very
favorite movie. That'd be like, imagine that, like in a lit up glass case when you walk into the house, and then I throw like things at you off the balcony. Make it like real
the
experience.
music on.
Yeah, maybe have a lion attack you.
Is it Hans Zimmer? Put that on.
Yeah.
Yes.
Are you not entertained?
Yeah, and that would be my excuse at the end. Where are you going?
Gosh, that's like the party trick. For me, it would be anything Disney.
Party
You need to leave.
But I would want anything Disney. I would want like an autographed, like original, like Ursula.
Oh, wow.
Or like an autographed.
But what do you mean though? Ursula's a cartoon.
Yeah, I know. Like the drawing of her, the initial
The cell,
sketch.
like-
Can I tell you?
You want a drawing over like a piece of memorabilia?
Yes, I'm obsessed with Disney, and I got to go to the Frozen premiere when I had my exclusive with Kristen Bell. And when I was at the premiere, I got to meet some of the cartoonists.
Wow.
I got to meet, now there was a handful of cartoonists that did, I guess they do with every movie, there's not just one cartoonist, I didn't know that. But when I got to meet the handful of cartoonists who did The Little Mermaid.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Oh, they told me everything. They told
Sebastian?
me about Scuttle and
I played
little tricks with Scuttle and his mouth, and yeah. So I would want one of those original drawings.
Oh yeah.
With an autograph.
And that would get a lot of money. How much would you pay? A lot?
Yeah.
All right. Good answer. It's a dingle hopper. Remember that with
You're
Scuttle?
squeaking over there.
It's so embarrassing.
Yeah,
this
it's
chair.
really loud.
I'm so sorry. You doing okay?
It's a weird one.
It is.
Today?
We're all
It's a weird
fuddled.
one.
Yeah. We're just gonna
We're
go
all
with it. Befuddled.
You said fuddled.
Yeah, you didn't say
Coming up on DBL. I knew someone would get it. We're learning more details about, this is interesting, Fred Savage's misconduct, the shocking new reports after the break. Stay with us.
For 2 years, Democrats have been working to pass legislation to achieve their goals on economic, health, and climate policy. The Senate has just finally done so, passing the Inflation Reduction Act. Ads attacking the bill have already hit airwaves, like this one sent to us by a Verify viewer in Georgia.
Washington liberals like Raphael Warnock say their partisan spending bill lowers seniors' drug costs, when actually, it cuts nearly $300 billion from Medicare.
So is that true? Does the Inflation Reduction Act cut billions of dollars from Medicare? To verify, we looked at the text of the bill, the analysis of the bill by the Congressional Budget Office, and we went to sources specializing in health and budget policy. All our sources confirmed this bill as written does not cut any funding to Medicare. What it aims to do is actually save Medicare money by reducing how much it pays out to drug companies. It does this in 3 ways. The first is to give the federal government the authority to negotiate with drug companies over how much it'll pay for certain Medicare-covered drugs. The second way is to institute a cap on how much drug companies are allowed to raise the prices they charge Medicare each year. And the third way, undoing a Trump-era rule that banned drug makers from giving discounts to insurers in order to keep their products on the insurer's list of approved drugs. According to the Congressional Budget Office, all that adds up to nearly $300 billion in savings for Medicare over the next 9 years. But it's cost savings, not budget cuts. In fact, the text of the Senate bill includes billions in new spending for Medicare. AARP calls the claims the legislation would cut Medicare a lie, saying, quote, "This bill saves Medicare nearly $300 billion by lowering the price of drugs. Only drug companies would say that saving people money is a bad thing." All that means we can verify, no, the Inflation Reduction Act does not cut billions of dollars from Medicare. With your Verify, I'm Casey Decker.
Welcome back to DBL. The three of us have been talking about this a lot. Fred Savage is speaking out after some women accused him of sexual harassment on the Wonder Years reboot set. Six female crew members spoke to The Hollywood Reporter about Fred's alleged sexual harassment. They are remaining anonymous, but the women say they saw 2 different sides to Fred. One that was this supportive colleague around other actors and executives, and I believe the kind that we see, right? And then there was this darker, angrier alter ego. One woman said one night out with some crew members, Fred pushed her up against a wall and, quote, put his mouth on her very forcefully. That's not good. In a statement, Fred said there are some incidents being reported that absolutely did not and could not have happened. So he's denying some of that, but added, quote, "Any one person who feels hurt or offended by my actions is one person too many. I will work to address and change any behavior that has negatively affected anyone." We're all kind of disappointed up here. Not that we know anything. We shouldn't make anyone guilty, but 6 women is a lot of people coming forward. What do you think, Jeff?
Yeah, usually when there's smoke, unfortunately, there might be a little something there, right? There might be a little fire. I'm biased in this, even though I love to see both sides, whether it be politically or celebrity, but sometimes celebrity could pull the wool over even my eyes, right?
Totally.
I'm a big fan of Fred Savage. I think he should have got that job, even though I love Ryan Seacrest. I'm a big fan. He seems like a good guy, but sometimes it's not all. Oh, I don't want to say the wrong word here because Sam's here. It's not all. Chalked up. No, it's not all. Chalked up
to what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, but is it chalked?
You were asking me.
Because I looked at you and then I wanted to make sure I got it right because I knew you were going to make fun of me.
I don't ever say anything.
But sometimes what you see on television isn't who the real person is. So hopefully this isn't true. But like I said, 6 people.
Listen, I want to believe the alleged victims, and I've learned recently that through personal experience that sometimes there are 2 sides to every story. And so I'm going to wait till I hear all the facts. I also know that there have been a number of people speaking out in support of Fred Savage. So I'm going to wait to hear the facts on this one.
Yeah, that's fair. And I think we are learning as a society to, I call it the Aziz Ansari, to the slow down, let's wait, let's not rush to judgment. For me, 6 says a lot. It's not 1, it's not 2.
But there's also a varying degree in the egregiousness. Like,
agreed.
Is somebody being an a-hole on set? I hope I can say that. I'm sorry, Chris. Sorry.
Probably not.
Is that criminal?
Right.
Is somebody who pushed someone against the wall and tried to kiss them, was that misconstrued? Obviously, that could be sexual assault, but that obviously could be misconstrued too. So, again, I want to wait till I hear all the facts.
I like that you're saying that because a year and a half ago, had I said that on television, it seriously would have been a problem.
It's a different climate.
Right? So believe all women all the time, no matter what.
Survivors.
That was a year and a half, and if I didn't spew that out, I was to blame as well. I was part of the problem. So I'm glad we're coming around culturally. Doesn't mean that Fred is in the right by any means, but that our thinking as a society is kind of balancing out. So I am happy about that.
We have to wait till we hear the facts.
The pendulum is swinging. Is that what you're saying? I'll also say this. In 2018, just so you know, a costume designer on The Grinder, another show, did file a lawsuit against Fred, accusing him of verbally and physically assaulting. So some facts are there, but you're right. Let's wait until everything comes. But little smoky. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Picture it, a standoff. Democrats on one side, Republicans on the other, and in the middle, the Inflation Reduction Act. Tumbleweed passes by. Will the bill pass? Before the showdown, let me fill you in on what ended up in the final bill, because that's what's on the table here. There are some biggies like climate change, big pharma, and tax reform. Juicy, huh? Let's start with the biggie, climate change. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first bill in U.S. history to address climate change seriously, with almost $400 billion set aside for building the infrastructure we need for renewable energy. So I want you to think solar panels, wind turbines, plus a lot of tax credits for buying electric vehicles and smarter homes. And the bill would aim to lower greenhouse gas emissions 40% below 2005 levels by 2030. That's a big step forward. Big Pharma, baby, let's slash some prescription drug prices, huh? For the first time ever, the bill gives Medicare the power to negotiate the price of medicines. Lawmakers have wanted to do this for years, and this Congress appears to have finally gotten it done. The great news for those on limited income, there's also now a cap for any out-of-pocket prescription costs, and that is set at $2,000. Additionally, many healthcare subsidies that grew out of the pandemic, they're going to be extended for the next 3 years, which is a huge relief to middle and lower income individuals. Also huge, Medicare recipients will see the price of insulin capped at $35. Now, an effort to expand this cap to Americans with private insurance didn't have enough Republican support and was stripped from the bill, which is a big miss for the more than 7 million Americans who require insulin but aren't on Medicare. How do we pay for all this, Tor? Big taxes on big corporations, like a 15% minimum tax for any corporation making over $1 billion in income, which will bring over $300 billion of revenue. Healthcare savings from allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices is estimated to save another $200 billion. and an $80 billion investment to improve the IRS. That is actually expected to pay off handsomely because the IRS estimates that the tax gap, the difference between what people owe and what they actually pay, exceeded $400 billion per year in recent years. As for if the bill will actually reduce inflation in any real sense for the average family, that remains to be seen. But all of this almost didn't happen. Schumer had every Senate Democrat on board except for Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. The negotiations wore on long into Saturday night. 8 hours, 10 hours, 16 hours. Finally, Schumer manages to convince Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema to come over to their side. That means that all Senate Democrats have voted yes, and every single Senate Republican has voted no. What does that make it? 50-50. A tie? Who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. Just kidding, Kamala Harris. As the Veep, Harris is also the president of the Senate, aka the tiebreaker. So Harris swooped in Sunday night in the wee hours to vote for the bill to pass 51-50. As Chuck Schumer, the architect of the bill, said, quote, "It was like threading a needle." Some might be disappointed with the results, but hey, at least the sewing has started. Now you know. Welcome back. If you haven't noticed, it's still one hot summer, and we haven't seen the last of record-breaking temperatures. So if you're feeling overheated, you can instantly cool down by wrapping a cool, wet towel around your neck. But that's not the only way to beat the heat. Here are some other quick ways to cool down, sponsored by Sunset.
That works, by the way.
It does. For
Yeah,
athletes,
definitely.
they do that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Tennis players. Did you know you can create a cool breeze just by setting a large bowl of ice water in front of a fan? And instead of a pool, you can cool down by dipping your feet into cold water up to your ankles. Also, keep skin products like lotion and sunscreen in the fridge if you want a refreshing snack that can help you cool off. Frozen fruit can also increase your water take. Sunsetter is America's #1 best-selling awning with affordable custom features without the custom price. Spend more time outside, get the best value with Sunsetter. It's been an industry leader for 30 years. So call 1-800-513-6851 or visit sunsetter.com for guaranteed pricing on American-made awnings built to last.
Just a little FYI, don't eat the sunscreen.
Don't eat the sunscreen.
That's
Eat
right.
the grapes.
That's right.
That's very
A
fair.
frozen water bottle when I was broke in Hollywood all those years and had no air conditioning. Frozen water bottle tied to the tummy.
Smart.
Yep. Just take like a
Very
belt
smart.
or a sweatshirt, tie it to the tummy.
Brilliant.
Makes you cool down head to toe. Right.
DIY.
There. Yes.
Very smart. I want to get to this very good story before we go. There is a scary moment, but it was during the Little League World Series last night. It's going viral. Oh, no. He is okay, but this looks scary. The pitcher hits a kid, in the helmet. The player hits the ground holding his head in deep pain. It was very awful to watch. But after he made it to first base, I'm going to cry, he saw that the pitcher was upset. Aww. And he walked to the mound and he hugged him and he told him he was doing great. Oh. The moment also inspired the whole rest of the pitcher's team to run to the mound to comfort him. I just think that kind of sportsman, we can learn a lot from that kid in blue.
Kids over adults, right? You see parents like fighting at sporting events, and then this is how we should all be acting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, DBL's new every day. We'll see you same time, same place tomorrow.